put your hands together as we welcome Haz Memon.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hi.
sir.
Welcome.
Have a good time.
Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me at the back, the front? Yeah? Perfect. Well, welcome. It's bright and early. I hope you have had your cup of coffee. We're going to make it really cozy and intimate here, so feel free to jump in, chime in, give your opinions, and hopefully I can share some knowledge. I see some familiar faces here as well, so it's nice as well. Okay, so first thing first, who am I? Why am I here? Why am I the one talking to you today? I'm Haz, my friend here, Anthony, mentioned that I'm the founder of Escape, which is a co-living brand, and also a founder of Coliving Hub, and a non-profit association of co-living operators. I'm also a co-living consultant. So I say co-living a lot, right? And that's because I live and breathe co-living. But that's not what this is about. This talk is about how I can be here while my business is running in Switzerland and in Greece and remote. So we're going to jump into that. So first and foremost, this is my favorite thing to do, is to create communities. I come from a business travel background, and I wanted to encourage slow travel. I started my co-living 8 years ago. Just to give you an idea, 8 years ago, there were 5 co-living operators in Europe. Can anyone guess how many there are now in Europe? 250. In Europe alone, 600 worldwide. And here I'm talking about co-living focused on digital nomads and remote workers, because there's a whole other world of co-living as well, which is residential. But, so this is one of my places in Switzerland. It's in the Alps, in the French part of Switzerland. Philip, my friend here, is also there, so nice to see him as well. Then I've also got a space here in Greece, in Crete, in the south of Rethymno as well. Again, these both places, one I opened 8 years ago, this one's opened 3 years ago, again, trying to bring nomads to a destination that's less known. So we can also help local economy and also help the people who want to connect and discover new areas and places. Another thing is Co-Living Hub, which I told you is the association. So I help co-living operators who are new, who are or existing, who want to either learn or grow their co-living business. We have a knowledge-based platform, but we also host events like this one, where we talk about all the different challenges co-living has, everything from architecture and design to finance and all the way to operations. So coming to how this happens, how this whole machine runs itself, is a bunch of amazing people who are involved. So it's not a large team that I operate. Again, we have like 20 rooms, 20 to 25 rooms, and with Co-Living Hub we are 8 members in the team. But it's still very interesting to see how we can learn from running everything remotely. And why we do that is because if you want to ever automate things, and I think many people here have read 4 Hours Work Week with Tim Ferriss and stuff. So, but the idea here is you want to be replaceable. Contrary to popular belief where you think you're the unique, you're the only one doing this, but you want to be replaceable. Because if you're not replaceable, you will never be able to hire, right? So the whole idea of hiring, and here I'm talking about hiring remotely, is to be able to step back and look at your whole business and be like, hey, I want to grow this business, but if a lot of people are scared that, hey, I don't know where to even start, can I actually trust the people I hire? And if they're remote, how can I actually know if they're achieving their goals? So the first thing about hiring remotely is to zooming out. A lot of the time we are stuck in the routine every day, looking at the same things and be like, okay, we need to make the next invoice, we need to meet the next goal, but we never really step back and be like, how is this business doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Is this something I enjoy doing? Is it financially viable? At the same time, what are the guests or customers saying about my business? If you feel happy in the place where you are, continue on. If you're not happy in the place you're in, you have to go back to those questions and try to see if there's something you can change about your business. But this is also a way for you to grow. The only thing which I would say here, you cannot zoom out if you don't hire, because a lot of the time you are stuck in that day-to-day routine as well. So just 1 minute, I need to pull up some notes. Yes, so this is the basic things, very basic 4 steps. Processes, hiring, trust, and then communication. These are the very simple, basic steps to hiring remotely and to be able for you to have time to do bigger and different, better things as well. So why do we need process? Because we pull our hair out as we start repeating the same things over and over again. A lot of the times you see on websites people have an FAQ. Why do you think people have an FAQ? Because that question is asked way too many times. And if it's asked way too many times, write it down. Standard operating procedures. So these are SOPs created so that not only you can delegate much easily, but also you can understand what your business is doing on a day-to-day basis. So if someone asks, hey, I don't know how to use this product, or hey, I need to create this and this thing through your product, but I don't know how to do that, you have to write it down, create a whole process. Sometimes it's easier to even have pictures or videos, like a demo tour or things like that, so that not only the customer can understand, but if you hire someone, they just have a document, they can just look at it and be like, hey, I know what to do. Again, this is all about being replaceable at the end of the day. Writing down your SOPs, whatever you're doing, if you're doing it way too many times, write it down. Next is SMART goals. Many of you might know this. The thing with SMART is that it needs to be specific, measurable, achievable, relative, and time-bound. Now, it's very easy to say all these different things, but what specific means, and I'll give you an example here. With Coliving Hub, I do also organize conferences, okay? So here's an example of taking a conference that I want to host, a co-living conference. What would be specific? Who, what, where, and when. So the answer to the specific would be that sponsors who work in or with hospitality sector. That's my specificity of that goal. Measurable. I want to have 10,000 euros raised in sponsorship. Achievable. How are you going to achieve it? For us, it's using a current network of co-living operators and enthusiasts. Relevant. Does it fit the overall organization objective? So we say, yes, this should cover the costs of the team to fly in, to be able to host a conference like that. And time-bound. When is the deadline? So next month, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. So this is an example of what a SMART goal is. So creating those for all your different objectives helps you achieve your goals in a much easier way. We've heard this way too many times, that as soon as you're an entrepreneur, you're wearing so many different hats, you're doing so many different things. And many of the people I've met, unfortunately, have had burnouts. And this is the whole idea of hiring, to avoid turning into this, right? So being able to step back a little bit, give responsibility to someone else. A lot of the time we are like financially constrained and we're like, oh, but this money I need it for myself, so I'm not gonna hire someone. But you don't understand that, or it's difficult to see the bigger picture that yes, it is going to be harder at the beginning, but it is allowing you more time to again create something that's more profitable. I call it Soul League. It's easy to always talk about people who will work with your business, but the easiest and the best way I have found people in my team is through asking around. You have so many people in this room, so many people with familiar, like-minded vision. Ask these people, hey, do you know someone who's great at branding? Do you know someone who's great at operations? Ask around your own network first before you publish it on LinkedIn or these places. Because more than anything, you will find someone who's like you, who understands you. So again, I found the whole team just through asking people around in my network. Creating an employee handbook. This handbook details everything like, hey, if your cat died, if an employee's cat died, what does he or she do? Can he take the time off? Can he not take the time off? What is the compensation like? What is our brand and vision like? So put everything down. It's just like an SOP, but of the whole company, and it's delivered to all the employees. Trust, biggest thing here, because we've noticed time and time again that a lot of employers don't trust that, hey, you're remote working, are you really doing your job? But this is very crucial to developing a remote team, is building trust. And how you build trust is you have weekly calls to talk about everything. I always dedicate 10 minutes of the call in the beginning to talk about how's everyone doing, how's everyone's cat, their dog, their baby, their husband, their girlfriend, everything. Because it allows them to understand me more and also allows me to build trust with them. The company culture, again, it's what I say it's very important, is to understand, hey, these guys need time to also shine, giving them, empowering them to create within your own business. Sometimes I'm saying to the employees, hey, if you want to create a project within the business, 90% of the profit is yours. Because you take the initiative, you create the project within the business, we just take 10% of the cut, 90% is all yours. And this empowers, again, the employees to create things within your business too. So, and the last thing is, keep saying it again and again and talk about it. A lot of the times, we don't share our habits. What is your morning routine or what is your afternoon routine? How do you like to work? You're a nomad, you're in different places. So communicate to the employer in this case or just to your colleagues, what is your habit? I always say, I don't like doing calls in the morning and I can maximum do one call a day. So everyone in my team knows this is my work ethic. So, and everyone tells me their work ethic. I need to have my cat next to me when I am working or when I'm on the call. So I respect that. So communicate always what your work ethic is because it helps the team work well together. No, nothing new under the sun here. Everything, all your files should never be on your computer. It should always be accessible to the whole team. So clouded, you're using anyway Slack, Zoom, and now ChatGPT, things like that. Make sure that it's accessible to the whole team. What is your voice? A lot of the times brands lose their voice, but the voice is very important because it's not just for the customers, but it's also for your team. Your team needs to understand what your brand voice is. Are you personal? Are you professional? Are you friendly? Are you polite? Are you precise? What is it? What is your brand voice? And that's important because that's how you communicate with all your customers and your team. And I've just added a few things here just to make it always easier for the team to understand where you're headed. I always tell them, hey, here's what the year looks like. This is what our goals are for this month, and this is what we have achieved, and this is where we are heading. So everyone knows how we are performing with the company. I also tell them the revenue. I'm very, very transparent with my team. So I tell them, hey, we need to make 45,000 euros next month, and we need to achieve this goal. So everyone works together because they know an exact measurable goal here, right? So I always communicate that, and I always communicate that we need to break even at this spot. You know, let's say 30,000 is our break-even point, for example. And that gives them responsibility. That makes them also feel like they want to achieve something. And of course, talking about my vision, every year, the beginning of the year, we always talk about how was it last year, how did we perform, what went well, what did not go well, what would you change about your own job or role? What can you do about your job? Did you enjoy something? Do you hate something? You don't like something or someone? Talk about it, right? So we talk about the vision of the business year and year, and that helps us become better as a team. So, sorry, it's a lot of information I'm throwing at you. I'm crunched on time, but thank you so much for listening to me, and now I will open it up for questions. Yes, does anyone have any questions? Who here is, yeah, okay, go ahead. Does she have a mic, or she can just, she's got a mic, yeah.
Okay. It's a very silly one.
Yeah,
but what is your, since you're doing so much remote co-working with people, what is the best cloud you're using to share files and have everything there? Do you keep everything on cloud? Do you also keep things in your computer? How
No.
does that work?
Nothing's on cloud. I think it really depends on what platform you're using. We use G Suite, which is the Google platform. So everything of Google is cloud. So it's Google Drive in this case for all the files.
So let's say all your Word files, your Excel, everything.
Everything.
We do all the time everything on Google.
Yes. And depending on what the file is about, you can give access to specific people only.
Yes, I know that. But what I'm really annoyed with Google is that if you open a folder on your computer, then a lot of things can change. Location, especially, it has happened to PowerPoint presentations. But is that just maybe specific to presentations? It doesn't happen in other files?
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of our files are also created within the drive.
So you create them and you open them within...
Sometimes, of course, we can transfer them from the computer, but we also create it on the drive. So create a PowerPoint position on the drive so the formatting is not.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, here. You can just say it, but it's just for others at the back to hear.
My question is, do you have some advice on hiring good people? Like, what are some common pitfalls?
How do you define good people?
People that work efficiently and that are not toxic.
Yes. A very interesting question. I think it's very hard to tell at the beginning who's good, let's say, or who's productive in this case, what you're saying. But what we do on weekly calls, we always talk about what was your last week achievements and what is your next week goals. So you are able to hold them accountable and be like, hey, okay, have you done something last week? And what are your plans for next week? And that helps you understand the person more and more, and ideally find the good person. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there are two people there. By the way, raise your hand if you're an entrepreneur. Nice. And freelancers? Okay. Remote workers, like working for a company? Okay. Oh, that's good. So it's a good balance. Yes, question.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting and very impressive number to go in 8 years from 5 co-livings in Europe to 250.
Yes.
My question is, what's the main thing that you have done to now survive and thrive in this growing market with your co-living?
I think it's the first mover's advantage, to be honest. There's a bit of luck in that. I would not say we are the best or the unique. No, we're not. But it was the first mover's advantage since we were the first 5 in Europe. But at the same time, what we have focused always on is community, which a lot of co-livings are focused on. And we always offer nature escape in different places, hence why the name. Another thing is with Coliving Hub, which is my other organization. It was created to give back because it's a non-profit organization. It's a way to help operators. So I don't stop at just my own co-living. I want to help have more and more co-living spaces. So it's my own demise, let's say, but I like that. I like having more co-living spaces. Yeah.
It's a beautiful answer. I'm sure that you have some tricks that you don't want to share with us.
We can talk later, of course. I know I'm an open book, so feel free to ask me anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
There at the back. Yeah. Last one.
Yeah, last one. So, yeah.
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in the mental health of digital nomads and just generally, I wanted to say, one, congratulations for putting a lot of things in place that actually check in on their mental health as you go. It makes a big difference. If anybody wants it, I do have an assessment that you can do with regards to how you prevent taking on toxic staff, just saying. And I was more interested in the Coliving Hub in terms of, you said it's a not-for-profit. Is there a membership fee for people to join, and then there are regular kind of catch-ups and meetings, or is it just a resource point?
Good question. Yeah, no, it is a membership platform, and it's a knowledge-based platform. We host webinars monthly where we invite expert speakers within the co-living industry. We also have resources, like you said, we have documentations on how to start in all aspects of the business. And we host physical events and retreats also to help co-living operators talk about their challenges too.
Great, thank you.
A mighty hand clap to Haz.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.